Hey, what's going on, Blue Crew? So we're coming at you today from outside. So the studio is actually being used right now. It's kind of cool being outside, right?
Honestly, it's much nicer out here.
It is really nice. But you hear that? So there's some yard work going on or something. Somebody's using a table saw or something. And so there's got a little bit of background noise. Might get a little bit of wind. And so just bear with us. There might be a couple of times throughout today's Blue Crew Live that we stop to let the noise finish, and that's just because we take these lives and then we edit them and then we post them later on publicly, and we want to make sure that we are as careful as possible whenever recording live to to make my job editing afterwards so much easier. Is that okay? Can my job be a little bit easy every now and then?
I don't know if it gets much easier. Come on.
Anyways, guys, so just really quickly, this is going to be a trigger warning. Okay, this is a trigger warning. And because the topic that we're going to be talking about today is a little controversial, but we're not going to be controversial today just for controversy's sake. We're talking about this because this is just what's going on right now. So we want to just ask you guys that in the comments that you keep the comments respectful, make sure that they're in line with our community rules and our guidelines. That's going to be extremely important.
Okay? And it's hard for us too.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, man.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm the first that wants to put my personal opinions in there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that going to help anything?
Yeah, and what we have to do is we have to look at how do we take this? How do we take these topics? How do we take what's going on and flip the script on it and take something destructive and turn it into something constructive. And that's what we aim to do in this. That's what Bridge the Blue is all about, okay? And so the title of today's episode is Protesters Urged to Get More Confrontational.
Oh! Sorry. I'm holding back.
Protesters urged to get more confrontational if Chauvin is not convicted. And then here's our call to action to you, our Blue Crew. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right on into this. And so, we've seen us just this increase, this surge over the last week or two in mass killings. Yeah. Now, I'm calling them mass killings because, Troy and I, we like to go to the gun range. And a lot of times we call them, the mainstream media calls them mass shootings. No, when we go to the gun range, those are mass shootings. Whenever you're getting rid of 100, 200 rounds each time you go to the range, that's a mass shooting. You got all those people in there. I'm not going to call them mass shootings because what they are, they're mass killings. Okay. Usually there's only a couple of shots that ring out. That's going to bug me. Only a couple of shots that ring out, and so Portland protesters are also once again lighting fires and they're smashing windows.
Can we just back up just a second?
Sure.
I mean, a year ago or whatever it's been, this is the exact same thing that happened then.
Yeah.
They were encouraged to get more confrontational.
Yeah. Encouraged,
yeah.
It's almost like they were coached.
It's just crazy. And look what happened.
Last year was probably one of the hardest years for law enforcement.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But they're being encouraged to smash windows. Protests are erupting in cities all over the nation right now, and over so-called police violence. And police violence. And it really concerns Daunte Wright as well as Adam Toledo. Now, we talked a little bit about Daunte Wright. It was last week, wasn't it? And then, since then, there's been another incident involving a 13-year-old child named Adam Toledo. And then while this is all going on, the Derek Chauvin trial has been also going on, and it looks like it's getting ready to wrap up. Mm-hmm. But during the weekend, Representative Maxine Waters from California urged protesters to get more confrontational if Chauvin is not convicted for George Floyd's death.
Yeah.
According to Newsmax, she said protesters needed to stay on the street demanding justice until there is genuine police reform. She also said if Chauvin is not found guilty, we've got to stay on the street and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business. She went on to tell CNN that her reference to confrontation was meant in the context of the civil rights movement's nonviolent history, saying that the whole civil rights movement is confrontation. Was there a confrontational bone in Martin Luther King's body?
I don't think so. I mean, that guy is such an amazing example of what we should be doing, the process we should be taking today.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an amazing example. But I'm having a hard time in my mind, because in my mind, when I'm thinking through the wording that she used and so forth, and again, I'm not trying to waver necessarily one side or the other, even though there's a certain degree of it that we should be. But can you imagine if President Trump would have used those words?
Oh.
I mean, he got torn up and down.
Yeah.
For the words that he used on that day that were not even remotely close to this.
Apparently, peacefully walk to the Capitol meant riots.
Apparently.
Meant an insurgency.
But this is clear. I mean, this is like ABC, DEF. You know, I mean, it's there's no question about what they're saying here, or she's saying here. Let's hold her accountable.
Absolutely. 100%. You know, and you know what? There's actually some in the government that are saying the exact same thing. There's House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, NRCC spokesman Mike Berg, as well as Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're demanding House Speaker Nancy Pelosi take action, and they are calling for her expulsion from Congress.
Explain what that means.
That they're calling for expulsion from Congress, basically that she either A, resign, that's a nice thing to do, or B, that she basically be kicked out.
Yep.
And held accountable.
Yep.
Everybody wants to talk about holding police officers accountable for just doing their job, but then whenever someone actually opens their mouth and incites real violence,
nothing is done.
No, as a matter of fact, Pelosi doesn't think it's a big deal. And when asked if she thinks that Waters should apologize, she said, and I quote, "No, she doesn't. Maxine talked about confrontation in the manner of the civil rights movement."
There's so much I want to say right now. Oh, so much I want to say.
Guys, we've been talking about this over the last couple of weeks, but there is a narrative. Mm-hmm. There is an agenda, and you've got, an invisible enemy, the deep state, the mainstream media, these crooked politicians, and they are trying to push an agenda down our throat, whether it's about a virus or whether it is about law enforcement. Guys, we've talked about all last year. We talked about how the agenda for law enforcement is to defund law enforcement, and then to disarm law enforcement and dismantle law enforcement. Troy,
I'd say let's just be clear here too. We're not saying that there's not things or there's not areas of improvement in law enforcement.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning.
We were, and matter of fact, we've got some amazing people that's going to be coming on here, over the next few weeks that are going to be sharing from their insight of being in law enforcement 30 plus years and significant roles and so forth, and what they've seen and areas that they feel like can be improved, and so on and so forth. But we're not saying that we don't have improvement that we can make on the LEO side, because there is, and there always will be room for growth. Always. There's always things that we can learn and do better. But I am saying what they're being allowed to do is just absolutely wrong. It's just absolutely wrong.
It's making for a more dangerous community, a less safe community, less safe for our officers, which then discourages new officers from coming into the profession. The officers that are there, and we talked about this with with Chief Kimberly and Corporal Montoya, that what we're seeing a lot of today, because of this narrative, we're seeing a lot of passive policing instead of more proactive policing.
Yeah.
They're guys. Whenever a Leo has to think twice about doing their job, that makes for a less safe community.
Yep.
For
Bad things
everyone.
happen.
I can't begin to tell you, and I want to encourage you, do your research. The number of times that law enforcement pulls someone over, and how many times they actually get lucky. They run the plates, they run that license or ID, and it winds up being someone that was on the run. Someone that they've been looking for a very long time. Somebody that was wanted in another state. Guys, with less proactive policing, those people aren't going to be pulled over, and those people are going to stay on the streets. And with less officers stepping up to the plate, less people applying into the profession because of this narrative.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've talked about this before too. You have the older generation of law enforcement that has all these years of experience that are just, they're retiring.
They just can't do it anymore.
And there's no one to teach the noobs, the rookies. There's no one to teach them. And
yeah, it's we've entered into an extremely difficult time frame, with so many law enforcement retiring, so many of them, calling it quits because it's just too much, right now. With so many of them, exiting, we don't have near enough people entering the area of law enforcement. It's tough because they're looking at this narrative, they're looking at what's going on, and man, why would you want to go into law enforcement right now? So much risk. Even those that passionately love the job, that dreamed about it their whole life growing up, etc., they're having second thoughts now about even applying. And so our numbers of staffing shortages is growing rapidly across the country. That's a huge issue. And I don't know what the answer is, as far as in a short time frame, but because the repair and the things that got to happen to recover is it's going to take some time. But man, we got to see something happen quickly.
Well, and here's the thing, the law enforcement profession, it's already a profession. People don't do it to get rich. They don't do it to make money. They do it because
they love to serve.
They love to serve. They want to give back to their community, and they go into it knowing that it's already a dangerous job. Without all of the riots, without all of the protests, without all of the crap that seems like the enemy of the people, half of the government, right? It's already dangerous. Then you tack on all of that stuff. Guys, we don't need a repeat in 2021 of 2020.
No. We need a repeat in 2021 of what happened after 9/11.
That's exactly what we need.
That's what we need.
That's exactly what we need. And guys, we're not sharing all of this to trigger anybody or to rile anybody up. And I want to thank you guys for being respectful, in the comments. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for being respectful and for not allowing this to trigger you. I'd be lying if I said that we weren't triggered, but it's a lot of self-control that we're exercising at the moment. But we're not sharing all of this to talk smack or to be controversial for controversy's sake. Okay, we're talking about this because this is something that's going on in the here and now. And we can't just ignore it and pretend it's going to go away. We can't just not talk about it and pretend that it's just going to be sunshine and rainbows, and that's what Bridge the Blue is all about. Let's just show the sunshine and rainbows. We've got to start talking about these more difficult topics, but we've got to do it in a way that is respectful.
Yep.
And we've got to do it in a way that is as objective as possible, which being a pro-law enforcement organization, it can be difficult to be objective.
Yep, it's hard sometimes.
Especially whenever you have friends and family that serve, that put their lives on the line, knowing that their life is even more at risk because of an invisible enemy that thinks that their life doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what do we do right now then, Lee?
Yeah, we talk about this because we want to focus on what we can do. Remember at the very beginning of this Blue Crew Live, we talked about we're sharing this stuff because there are some things that we have zero control of, okay? But there are other things that we can control. There are things that we can do. So there's going to be those in the government, and we talked about House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy. We talked about Mike Berg and Marjorie Taylor Greene. There are people in government that are doing what they can do. But what about you and me? What about us? What can we do? And so we wanted to issue a challenge, a call to action, if you will. And I wanted
This is one. We talked about several ways last week.
Yeah.
People can be involved. So if you didn't watch that video, I actually encourage you to go back and watch that video. Or was it last week or the week before? With Chief Kimberly and Corporal Montoya.
That was the week before.
Week before. We just went over several different ways that everybody can be involved. But today's challenge is a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
In what we're calling to. So
as we're going through all of this mess, all of this BS this week, we want to give you an opportunity for you to do something, for you to take action. We don't have to sit back and be the victim, Blue Crew. We don't have to be the victims. We can fight back. And here's how we want to encourage you to fight back. Number one, we would like for you, wherever you're at, whatever small town, village, city, we want you to step up and feed your local police department. And you can order on pizza. As a matter of fact, I know I see a lot, what I've known a lot of folks to do is they just go and order a bunch of $5 hot and readies from like Little Caesars. Well, I'll say Little CC's. I love buffet pizza. But from Little Caesars, but I mean, and you can cook them a whole meal if cooking is your thing and you want to do that. But we want to challenge you to do that. If you want to cook them some brownies, some cookies, make them some homemade donuts, go pick up some donuts and take them some donuts.
And unfortunately, because of the time frame that we're in right now with all this COVID stuff and et cetera, there's a lot of departments that, because of policy, can't accept home cooked meals and food and stuff right now. So if you buy it and have it delivered, whatever, that is usually workable for almost all departments. But some of the departments do have restrictions on the other side of things.
Yeah. And so between now and Friday, we want to encourage you to do that. We want to encourage you to feed your local department. That's step one. Now, part of step one is whenever you do it, we want you to take a picture. Take a picture with these guys, whoever's around. If you take a picture with them, then we want you to share that, create a post in the group and share that picture in the group using the hashtag #ThankYouBlue. Okay, so step one thing that we want to challenge you to do between today, Tuesday, and Friday is to feed your local department. Whatever that looks like. It can be pizza that you order from someplace. It can be donuts from Dunkin'. If you live here in Texas, it could be Shipley. Best donuts. I love Shipley. Man, it melts in your mouth.
Nasty.
And your hand. They're so good. But feed your local department. Snap a picture with them. And then create a post in this group. And share that post using the hashtag #ThankYouBlue. So that is step one. Okay? That's step one. Let me ask you, Troy. Have you ever had that happen to you where someone comes to your department and feeds you?
Yep.
How does that make you feel? Does it put a smile on your face?
All of them love it. They just feel respected. They feel loved. They feel, like they're actually making a difference. They feel appreciated. It doesn't seem like much to some people, but if you're sitting on the other side, it's huge.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
Second thing we want to ask you, that's step one. Step two of this challenge. Again, we're talking about things that we have the power to do, that you and I have the power to do. We want to encourage you to go to bridgetheblue.com bridgetheblue.com/merch. bridgetheblue.com/merch. And we want to gift you guys a discount, 15% off. Okay? We want you to use the coupon code DEFENDTHEBLUE15. And again, that is DEFENDTHEBLUE15, no spaces, no dashes. DEFENDTHEBLUE15, that'll give you 15% off. However, not on our entire store. This season, it seems like it almost feels like a repeat of 2020. We want to have a little bit of attitude, not disrespect, not an attitude of disrespect, but we want to have some pride in our support of law enforcement, our support for our men and women in blue. And so there are 3 shirts that this coupon code will apply to. Okay, 3 shirts. One of them, and I'm going to give you the exact names. One of them is Remain Silent No More. As a matter of fact, I think you're wearing that shirt, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, so has the hashtag Silent No More with the blue line across the chest, and on the back, it's got a thin blue line, American flag on the back. And so that shirt, you can get 15% off. Shipping is 100% free, always will be. 15% off. Another shirt. There are 2 shirts of the same coin, if you will. One is called They Risk Theirs, and basically it has a thin blue line flag on the front. It says they risk theirs so they can protect yours. There's nothing on the back. The other one is called They Risk Theirs Classic. Now, the reason why we call it Classic is because that is the design of our original Bridge the Blue shirt, and it's been one of our best sellers over the years. It just says Bridge the Blue here on the pocket, and on the back, it has a design of a thin blue line flag, says they risk theirs so they can protect yours. And so those are the 3 designs. Again, shipping is always free. We don't charge extra for shipping. And we're also going to give you an additional 15% off between now, here's the caveat, between now and Friday. This is the time for us to stand up again. This is the time, if you were complacent last year, this is the time for you to rise up, for you to show your love, and for you to show your support for our men and women in blue. We need to make sure that we get a head start before all this stuff starts going on. I'm hoping that through prayer, I'm hoping that through our continued involvement as an organization through Bridge the Blue, I'm hoping that by remaining respectful whenever we go live, that we can do our part to preventing a repeat of last year this year. So again, just a quick review. 2 things, 2 actions that the government's going to do what they're going to do, but what can we do? Number 1, step 1, between now and Friday, feed your local police department. Whatever that looks like, feed them, take them pizza, whatever. Donuts, no, they love donuts.
The right donuts.
Like Shipley. Between now and Friday, feed your local police department, take a picture, create a post in this group, share that picture with the group using the hashtag #ThankYouBlue. Second thing is go to bridgetheblue.com/merch. You can also just go to bridgetheblue.com, scroll down towards the bottom of the page, and you'll see merch. We want to give you 15% off of 3 different designs. One is the Remain Silent No More t-shirt. Another one is They Risk Theirs. The third one is They Risk Theirs Classic. And you can use the coupon code DEFENDTHEBLUE15 to get 15% off. And again, as always, we give you free shipping. And so, Troy, any last thoughts?
No, just things are heating up out there on a negative side of things, so we've got to turn up the heat somehow on our side, and being proactive and supporting these men and women to the best of our ability. And sometimes that's just a matter of just flooding social media, with positive photos and stories and whatever. Other times it's feeding them, whatever we can do.
Yeah.
But let's love on these men and women like never before over this next several days. Okay. So
come on, and let's do it with pride, guys.
Yeah.
Let's be proud to be supporters of our heroes in blue. I want to encourage you, have no fear. Guys, they're going out there and they're risking it all for us. The least we can do is show our support publicly and not walk in fear, but to walk in love, have a backbone, have courage to take a stand for those that put theirs on the line for us. So with that being said, if you got value out of today's Blue Crew Live, go ahead and smash those likes, those hearts, leave a comment, and make sure you follow us on all of our other social channels. You know, we're on Facebook, Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're also on LinkedIn. Also want to encourage you to join our Blue Crew email list. You can go to bridgetheblue.com, and right there close to the top of the page, you'll see a little form for our Blue Crew email list. We just ask for your name and your email address. That's it. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to sell your information. All your stuff is 100% private with us. But what that's going to allow you to do, Blue Crew, that's going to allow you to explore ways that you can get involved. We might be doing an event in your area at some time in the near future. We also get some information before we actually share it public here, and we're constantly looking at how to add value to those benefits of just being an official member of our Blue Crew, not just here in the group, but also on our email list, our newsletter list. And so that's, again, bridgetheblue.com. Join our Blue Crew email list. And
we'll end with this. Take Shipley out of your mind and put Krispy Kreme in it.
Come on. No.
All right.
I love
Thanks,
you guys.
everybody.
God bless.